What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the U-verse? It's your boy Mountain Moto bringing you another test ride, this time brought to you by Foothills, BMW, Triumph Motorcycles, Lakewood, Colorado. This is a demo day, and so today on this ride I'm riding the S1000XR. Alright, so here we are seated on top of the 2016 BMW S1000XR, BMW's adventure bike. So, yet again, I'm 6'3", 34-inch inseam. I can flat foot it, but it is a pretty tall bike. The waist on the bike is not nearly as thick as the K1600 GT, so it's actually pretty comfortable sitting here at a stop. We'll go up through the boot up cycle, turn it on. Got our start switch over here. Oh, got to pull on the clutch because I'm in first gear. Now again, I apologize. This is one of those times where I'm doing a group ride. So we're doing a guided tour of Lakewood out to Golden. It definitely feels like an adventure bike. It's nice and tall, but very stable. Now this one does not have BMW's hydraulic clutch like the K1600 does. Yep, there's that adventure high center of gravity for you. And honestly, I prefer this clutch. I like traditional clutches. Let's adjust these. I can't see. Whoa, that's a bit too high. All right, there we go. Now I can see. I like the exhaust note on this. It sounds really good. Stable platform. I can actually feel it. It wants to pull itself back up to vertical at 34 miles an hour. So we've got an analog tack, digital speedo, and everything else is digital. Now it's standard, but actually I really like it. It's very easy to read. We got an engine temp, we got the odometer in miles, and we got a clock. That time is not correct. It is not midnight. So, and we've got electronic suspension. So right now we're set on road, dynamic are your two options. We'll leave it on road. Go into mode for the engine mapping. You get a dynamic pro, rain, and road. Let's go to dynamic pro. You can change modes on the fly. All you have to do is pull in the clutch, which is really nice. It's not an open the throttle, so you just have to know that going in. Sorry, my visor's fogging up, so I got to crack my visor a little bit. That's the audio change right now. Fit and finish is typical BMW, i.e. top notch, simply the best. Now this one has an adjustable windscreen. Ready for it? There you go. So it's not a crank, it's not electronic, it's just you pull and it goes up. We'll leave it down because we're doing low speed. I can close that now. Seal up my audio chamber. This is one thing that I've always loved about these group rides. You get people that don't understand what lane position is and how to ride two up because they don't ride in groups, so they ride down the road in P2. You should not be in P2 when you're in a group ride at any point in time, boys and girls. Group ride should be in P1 or P3. Pick one and stay there. That goes for you too, buddy. That way you can close up the group and you're less likely to get the group broken up by a stop sign or a red light. I really like this bike. I like the inline four. I like the throttle characteristics. I like the suspension so far. The seat, the saddle is very nice. It's a great cockpit. I feel absolutely at home here. Ooh, yeah. The quick shift is nice. The auto blip downshift is absolutely beautiful. Wow, that is smooth. So this one does not have the electronic key, but it does have a very full electronic suite. It's got ABS, it's got dual disc front brakes with dual calipers on both, dual piston on both, sorry. It's got hazards, it's got four ways, it's got cruise control. I don't know if it's got heated grips or not. Nice little backfire on that deceleration. It's a good sounding motor. Definitely a very good sounding motor. The mirrors on these are actually, this is pretty nice. It's got it up and out of the way. I got really good vision. I can see absolutely everything just out of the corner of my eye. I don't actually have to move my head like I just was. I can just move my eyes and keep my helmet stable. There we go. Now we're up into the power band. The quick shifter is nice. I do like the downshift. The auto blip downshift is really nice. It's really smooth. If it wasn't for startup, you wouldn't even need a clutch hand. So as an adventure bike, yeah, it's a really nice. It's a little bit long of a reach to the handlebars standing up, but it's still a nice platform. I like the sound of this motor. Love that sound. It's got a very nice burble to it. Gets up to speed extremely fast. Very responsive. Now I am noticing right around 3,000, 3,500 RPMs, you do get a noticeable vibration in the mirrors, which is a lot more pronounced on the right side than the left. I feel a little bit of vibration in the handlebars at that RPM, but it's not really bad. It's definitely not V-twin bad. It's not as bad as Duchess. I mean, Duchess at 2,500 RPMs, it's a little different RPM range. You get a really good, healthy vibration. I'd be curious once we get out onto the highway. We're gonna go down here a little ways, do a little bit more low speed touring, and then we'll get a little bit of highway. I'm curious how this responds. That's nice. You don't have to do anything for the downshifts, and it just slips right into the second. Very nice quick shifter. And we've got that same BMW 12 volt power outlet over there. I'm sure you can just get the plug so that then you can power, do a USB port or something off of that. It's nice, wired directly in. It's got an air temperature reading, so we're reading 68 degrees going into the engine, which should be pretty close to your ambient air temp. Oh, it's got a lap timer. How cool is that? How do you start that? That's awesome. Now again, this bike is a mid controls, so my feet are virtually vertical with my hips. It's my preferred seating position, honestly. I feel like I can lock in my lower body the best there. Oh, that thing swerves. That thread's very nice at 40 miles an hour. This is the road that goes down by the brewery. For those of you that don't know, we're going into Golden, Colorado. Golden, Colorado is Coors country, and I peed in that stream. But this is a great little valley. It goes down in between north and south tabletop mountains. And they could have made it straight, but they didn't. They put in some nice twisties. Just down here through the valley, it's absolutely gorgeous. If we could get this Ford out of our way, it would be even better. That's fifth gear at 45 miles an hour. Motor still has, even down at 3,500 RPMs, it's got plenty of torque to snap you back in your seat. Definitely get you out of harm's way if somebody's coming into your lane. You can just open that throttle and move it, get the hell out of their way, and let that cager go on about their business. I'm a big advocate of torque on a motorcycle, and this bike has it. Switch suspension into dynamic mode. See how that changes up, because we've done this first half of the ride in road mode. So yes, that is a shift light. And I almost forgot that there's a tunnel. You must rev bomb a tunnel. It's a requirement. And here we are in the beautiful town of Golden. I absolutely love this town. Golden is awesome. It's such a cool place. Now we're getting a little wind. Let's see if that makes any difference at 50 miles an hour. I don't really notice much. When I get home, I'll do some research on this bike because I really do like it. And we'll pop up what Dynamic Pro does, what dynamic mode does, what road mode does, what rain mode does. I mean, the rain mode's pretty obvious. It probably cranks up your ABS and your traction control systems, really slows down your throttle response, if not cutting your power. I'm sure road is another step up, and then dynamic is another step up, and dynamic pro is the top level with virtually no traction control, ABS interventions at the lowest, and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get that sorted out, and I'll pop that up there for you. I'm interested to see how much power this bike actually has. Seat of the pants feel, if I had to guess, I would say this is probably right around 140 to 160 horsepower. I know that's a really big range, but honestly, with the style of riding that we're doing right now, I don't have the opportunity to really know exactly what it is. I am impressed with how flexible this motor is. I've now got it in dynamic mode on both suspension and throttle mapping. And I was fourth gear down at 20 miles an hour and just kind of let out the clutch. It was bogging down at like 2,000 RPMs, and it pulled itself right on up. It's a very flexible motor, and I love that quick shift. It's so smooth on its transitions in between gears, even with a really low load on the motor. The quick shifts are absolutely seamless. It's really nice. Look at that Speed Triple S. Oh, that thing is so sexy. Sorry, Trevor, I had to, man. All right, so now at highway speed, 6th gear, cruising 68 miles an hour. There's the visor up. There's the windscreen down. I do actually notice a rather sizable difference. It's much quieter. Well, no, maybe not. Ah, that was a side blast, but it does make a bit of a difference having that visor up, that windscreen up. Dynamic mode really sharpens that throttle response. And honestly, this is a really new bike, and it hasn't been completely broken in yet. It's only got 1,000 miles on it. So I didn't take any of those shifts all the way up to redline. This thing was still extremely fast. We got up to 90 miles an hour before the end of that on-ramp, with minimal front end lift at each shift. So really nice. Here's that long radius right hand sweeper at highway speeds. And what's really nice about this as well is it's that concrete surface, so you get those undulations, and then going to asphalt, and yeah, the suspension soaked all that up even with dynamic mode on. It was a very smooth ride. I like it. Again, the flexibility of the motor is definitely showcased right there, going from 70 down to 50 without changing gears, and I'm still in the power band. I still have plenty of torque. Obviously, I could definitely drop 2 and have a lot more throttle response, but it's not necessary with this bike. 50 miles an hour in 6th gear, it'll still plant you in the back of the seat. Single-sided swing arm, Triumph does it right. Look at that. So you got a single-sided swing arm, you spend all this engineering, and you open up the back tire, you move the exhaust up outside of the back tire, you show it off. Good job, Triumph. Very nice. Alrighty, guys, so we're heading back to the dealership, and let's give a few parting thoughts on the 2016 BMW S1000XR. Motor is top of the barrel, man. This thing is a phenomenally flexible motor. It's amazing the power band that it has and how much power it has. With all the electronics that you get on this motor, you can do just about anything with it, and there's a reason why it's a great adventure bike. Transmission is phenomenal. I love the clutch lever. You get a very communicative lever. You can feel exactly what's going on with the clutch. You know it communicates very well with you. I love it. Now the clutch, it's kind of a shame because they put this absolutely phenomenal clutch and coupled it with a quick shifter that is beyond belief. Oh, blinkers are on. And I kid you not, the quick shifter on this thing is so silky smooth. Upshifting and downshifting with the auto blip feature. It's incredible. The transmission on this bike, the drivetrain, is just phenomenal. Engine and transmission match together perfectly. Magnifique. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, electronics, I'm not actually sure. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure what's going on with this bike, what all we have on this bike. Oh, that was fourth gear. Let's do a third gear. Third gear start. Now, it doesn't have self-canceling turn signals. Doesn't have the auto canceling. Doesn't have... It's got an outside air temperature gauge. It's got electronic suspension. It's got 4 throttle maps. It's got a shift light straight from the S1000XR. If there's a weakness in the transmission, sometimes it doesn't like going into neutral. It's got electronic cruise control that's speed sensitive. It's not throttle sensitive, which I absolutely like. Oh, it does have heated grips. So there's heated grips. Nice. 3 levels. So you have off is 1, high, and low. So that's pretty cool. That's the button right up there. So flash to pass. High beams is... Oh, okay. High beams is push. And then pull to flash. It's got 4-way hazards. It's pre-wired for a BMW, I can't remember which brand they have, navigation system, which is something you're going to want to have on an adventure bike. So yeah, the electronics, honestly, how are you going to beat it? It's phenomenal. The look of the bike, I actually really like the look of the bike. I love this white, but I've always been a big fan of the white bikes. I love the fit and finish. If you were looking for an adventure bike, you really cannot do wrong by yourself by at least going out and test riding this BMW S1000XR. This bike is very, very nice. I could see this being your one bike if you're not a racer and you don't want to just, you know, race everything that pulls up, which you still could do. This thing's still pretty quick. It's still got a very capable motor. It's not going to be a track day bomb, but you could have a lot of fun on this bike. You could fit DOT knobbies to it and really go adventure. And looking at the rear seat platform, I think it'd be very easy to put pillion bags on it and do some luggage and go for long rides on this thing, which I could easily see doing. It's got a very comfortable saddle. I haven't tried moving around because we're riding fairly sedate on this ride. Things I don't like on this bike. I've never been a fan of the Forrest Whitaker front end. Never, ever, ever, never liked it. It's something in my OCD that I like things to be balanced, and the front headlights being completely different shapes and the bike itself not being the same side to side just drives my OCD nuts. But I think I could get over it. Honestly, I think I could get over it because you're not looking at the front end of the bike that much. A little disappointing that you don't have more adjustment on this windshield. And it's kind of a funky, it's awkward, I guess is the way that I would describe it. I don't like their implementation of the adjustable windshield. I've had a few situations where slipping into neutral was difficult. Most of those were coming from second. And a lot of times that's a transmission thing. Once the transmission gets fully broken in, it slips from second into neutral a lot easier once you get the feel of the bike. So that may or may not be a con. I'm not 100% sure. Oh, this bike has a center stand as well. I just noticed that. So that'll make service really nice. I like the sound of it. It's got a great exhaust sound. I'm supposed to be doing things I don't like. In the standing position on an adventure bike, you should be comfortable standing. This bike was not overly comfortable standing. The bars are a little bit low, at least for me, and I'll admit I'm an exception here. But when I'm standing up, the bars are exceptionally low, so it's not something where you're naturally going to be trail riding in a standing position, spotting rocks and that kind of stuff. You'd probably go to a different bar setup if you're going to be doing that kind of riding on a regular basis. I'm really nitpicking now to find things I don't like about this bike. It seems to run pretty hot. If you're doing adventure riding and you're doing the low speed maneuvering up in the mountains and on trails and stuff on this bike, I think the motor is going to run a little hot, because just bobbing around town on a 70-degree day here in Denver, Colorado, I saw the motor getting up to 202, I think was the highest I saw. And that's not even working the engine. That was sitting there at idle. So that might be a concern on the adventure side of the bike. So if you guys are interested in an adventure bike, visit my friends down at Foothills Triumph BMW in Lakewood, Colorado. Definitely mountain approved. Try out this S1000XR. Very nice bike. If you guys enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if you've got experience on this here steed, or if you'd like to. But until the next time, men and women, boys and girls of the U-verse, you know I love you. Keep that shiny side up. Mountain out.